Hey, it's Elijah Thacker with New Line Championship Boxing. I'm here with Austin Chafin, and we're talking to Logan Shuck today. He's got a very big kickboxing match coming up on January 29th against Casey Galyean. How you feeling today, Logan?
Not too bad. Same old, you know.
Been expecting you for a long time, been wanting to interview you for a while. I didn't get a chance to your last fight. I've always really interesting. You're kind of a student of the game or a true martial artist.
I definitely a bit more cerebral about it, I think.
So tell us, how'd you get started in this game?
In fighting?
Yeah.
I was probably 4 or 5 years old when I started doing Tung Soo Do. And I did that for a good while, and then I kind of got out of it in high school. And then there toward the tail end of high school, I started getting back into that. And then after my senior year of high school, right after I graduated, I started going to Ryoma Academy. And that's when I started getting into jiu-jitsu real heavy. And I've probably been a fan of MMA for about 3 years prior to that. So I would, for the most part, say in and around there. Senior year of high school was when I really started getting into it. And then, when I fought Shane, that was that about 8 months ago at this point-ish? Somewhere around there? Yeah.
So since you fought Shane, since that first fight, you got a KO victory there. How think you've evolved?
Pardon?
How much do you think you've evolved since that first fight?
Oh, yeah, a hell of a lot. I mean, that wasn't my first time being in a ring. I did do a smoker at Winchester Boxing Club, but that didn't go real well. I'll put it that way. But no, that fight was a lot of getting used to being in there, understanding how I handle my nerves prior to a fight, understanding how a weight cut is. I didn't wrestle, so it's not like I've ever cut weight before like that. And I did that, and now, I know where I should be. Certain point in fight camp with my weight. I know how to rehydrate properly, and I know my coaches have done it all before plenty of times. So it's all down to science and numbers and all that. I know how I handle my nerves prior to a fight. I know now that I pretty much get them at their peak like 4 weeks out, and then I get them a little bit at noon the day of the fight, and then they kind of dissipate by the time I get to the venue. I mean, that's really what the fight with Shane was, is pretty much just kind of getting my feet wet and understanding, kind of seeing like, okay, this comes out of left field at you. I've never dealt with this before, you know what I mean? And now I kind of know what to expect. And then the fight with Ian, I would really say, was pretty much me understanding what it's like to go to the third round,
So talk us through that fight with Ian. That's the last time we saw you. It was a razor thin fight, like went all 3 rounds, and you guys were back and forth the whole time. Ian kind of put a pace on you in the first 2 rounds, but man, you came on really strong in that third and really started hitting him with that left hook, and like you got sharper and more technical and seemed stronger as the fight progressed.
Yeah, and like I said, that fight was really a learning experience too, because in every round, and I know a lot of it's adrenaline. Like, I've been sparring 2-minute rounds. I had been prior to that, you know what I mean? But in all 3 of those rounds, every time I heard the clap that there was 10 seconds left, I'm like, already? Like, we're just getting started here, you know what I mean? And that was a big factor now, especially that first round. I was, like I was talking about nerves. It's a weird thing. Like, the moment the ref says fight, it's like all of a sudden everything gets real loud. You know what I mean? I certainly was like, oh shit, I'm in a fight. You know what I mean? So a lot was nerves for the first round, but then once I got in the stool for the second one, my coach was talking to me, I kind of pulled back in. And the second round, I turned it up a little bit. I probably should have turned it up more in the second round, to be honest with you. This time, though, I'm expecting to handle my nerves a little bit better going right into the first and be able to come out guns blazing instead of later on in the fight like I did with Ian, which definitely cost me that one,
I think that's one thing with these amateur West Virginia rules. You got 2 men. There's not much time to get comfortable in there. And I know, being a more cerebral fighter, you kind of want them to get comfortable and get into a rhythm.
Yeah, I'm definitely more a little bit more like, I like to eat a couple shots first to kind of wake up a little bit, parry their jab, see where their range is at, land one of my own, see where that's at, eat a couple kicks, kind of see what their powers are like. I mean, because it's not like I've sparred with any of these dudes before, Yeah. 2 minutes is just short. It's just short, especially with adrenaline going. It's going so much more than it is when you're in sparring. Like I said, every time I heard that slap, I was thinking in my head, like, shit, I got 10 seconds. Like, I got to start. You know what I mean?
Well, it'd be a different story too, you know. Even me and Elijah was talking about when we was commentating your fight. You know, if that would have been a 5 round fight instead of a 3 round fight, it would have been a completely different fight. You know, just because in the third round you was really turning it on, but it was kind of a little bit too late. But as
Yeah.
far as like your cardio and stuff, I mean, it was fine as what we could see. It was, and like you said, we don't know until we're in there. It could have just been adrenaline, and before you know it, bang, you know, clap, 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 and then the round's almost over. But if that would have been a 5 round fight, that would have been a completely different fight, because I think by the third round, you was what you was just talking about. You was comfortable. You done found where he's at. You know where the sweet spot's at. You know, you got comfortable. Now you're ready to rock and roll, but now the fight's over. You know,
Yeah.
so so a good question is, you know, we can't change the rules and make it a 5 round fight, you know. So how do you adapt to get in that zone that you was in the third round last fight and say, bang, I'm in that zone in the first round, come on the 29th?
Try to get there earlier. Try to get there in the first round. Certainly get there before the second round. And even if I'm not feeling the groove, just kind of force myself to get into it. You know what I mean? Because once you start throwing a couple of kicks, you start landing a couple punches, you feel a good connection there. You're like, oh, I'm in it. You know what I mean? I know what I'm doing. I've been here before. But it takes a bit to get there. And pretty much what I'm trying to do with this one is just right out of the gate, even if I'm throwing shitty punches, I'm throwing just an awful jab or maybe a bad one too. They don't land properly. I'm throwing something. So I'm, you know, telling the judges like I'm in this. And I'm also getting myself in that place in my head where I'm like, okay, I'm in a fight. I got to do what I got to do. You know what I mean?
Now, how
Do you
important is
think
it?
that a part of, do you think that you're maybe a bit of a perfectionist, you know, like you want every technique? I've noticed that when I watch you fight, everything you throw is really clean. Like you don't throw anything sloppy. So I think maybe you're a little bit too picky with your shots.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Like I want that feed return to land exactly like a drill. That here and there. I know definitely in the third round with Ian, I was more like, I gotta land that body shot. I don't care if it's pretty. I gotta hit hard. You know what I mean? And when I remember landing a clean body kick, and I'm like that. You know, I gotta get that through. Gotta get it through hard. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, you kind of understand. I can't wait for that pretty shot, and I can't land a good cross and then sit there and take a picture of it. I got to get my hand back to my face and keep moving.
I think too, and it was like you would land that left hook, but it's like instead of just landing a big shot, you need to land 2 and 3. Like I'm sure more in this next fight, and I think a big thing is just getting comfortable in there. That's the thing. It's fights. This third one, I'm big difference because you've seen two totally different styles, and you've come through really well in both fights.
So say the question one more time. You're kind of cutting.
Oh, sorry about that. Basically, I was just saying, like I think we're gonna see Logan Shuck we've ever seen in this third fight because they're gonna be able to be comfortable in there because you know you've seen 2 different opponents now, 2 styles, and now you're gonna come in really used to being in there, used to competing.
Yeah. When I fought Shane, I fought a guy who was real small and wiry, and then I fought Ian, a guy who was my size. I fought. I don't mean to put either of them down. I think there are 2 different skill levels. I don't really mean to insult either one of them. I just think Ian's got a bit more of a team behind him. I especially felt that when I was in there. Yeah, I think this time I'm just gonna be a hell of a lot more comfortable. I've already done it twice. I've already dealt with the adrenaline twice. I know what it's like to go to the third round. Excuse me. I know my cardio is good enough to get me there. You know what I mean? And especially after that last fight, man, I felt good. Felt good. I was proud of myself. I was able to put my hands up, and I'm like, I can go again. Shit. So a lot of it is just being comfy.
So I don't know if you've seen Casey Galyean's fights. He's had one fight against Julius Purdue as a boxing match, but really he's been hoping to do for a while because he's a traditional martial artist as well, kind of a karate base. What do you expect to see from him this time?
I did watch his fight with Purdue. What I'm expecting, I'm kind of expecting him to start kind of like he did with Purdue, is just kind of be bouncing all over the place for a little bit, but not be real effective with his bounciness. I think there are a lot of guys who do that where they kind of jumping all over the place and they're throwing jabs out there from weird angles and weird kicks, and it's not getting them anywhere because they don't know why they're throwing kicks like that. And then I'm kind of expecting him to settle down maybe halfway-ish through the first round. And then if he doesn't settle down, I'll make him settle down. I'll just kick his leg. I'm kind of expecting that. And then as the fight goes on, I'm expecting him to do what he did with Purdue, provided he hasn't worked on his cardio, to just maybe kind of get on the back foot a little bit, try to fight defensively, try to find some counters. He did land a couple really good right hands on Purdue, and Purdue's head movement wasn't perfect in that fight. He's definitely worked on it, but yeah, I know he's a southpaw as well, but I know he switches here and there. So I'm expecting some good straight shots down the pipe if we're in an open stance, a couple good kicks here and there. But I'll just do what I do. I'll kick his leg, make him tired, put him on the fence, and then, like you said, I got a good left hook.
So you get through this fight with Casey. What's next for you?
Whatever's next, I don't know. I really don't know. I know there was some fella Keith was telling me about who was looking to fight. Oh Lord, was looking to fight Kyle for the belt. Kyle James, right? But from my understanding, Kyle James is 147. So I don't know. I just have to talk to Keith about what all that's about. I don't know. Me and Ian might do it again. Me and Shane might do it again. Who knows?
Do you ever see MMA in your future?
Yeah. I just got to get some more confidence really with my jiu-jitsu. I haven't done a jiu-jitsu tournament yet, and I plan to do one here sometime in the future. I've just been kickboxing so much. I've been focusing on striking, you know what I mean? And thus my jiu-jitsu is kind of lagging. So to get back in the swing of that, get some jiu-jitsu competitions under my belt, then yeah, I'd love to take an MMA fight.
So, I know you're, like we say, you're a student of the game. I'm sure you're watching kickboxing all the time, watching MMA all the time. Who are some of your favorites to watch?
Oh, my absolute favorite is TJ Dillashaw. I love watching that dude fight. He's an asshole, but I love watching him. And when he got suspended there for those 2 years of DPO, that broke my heart because I love watching him fight. His two fights with Cody, I remember clear as a bell watching that when he knocked out Garbrandt in that second fight. I jumped off of my couch screaming. I was so excited for that one. And being a traditional guy, I love Wonderboy Thompson too. His last fight broke my heart too. Been through a lot of heartbreak lately watching the UFC. I love Stipe. Yeah. Haven't been able to watch the fight tonight though, huh?
Yeah, we're right in the middle of a UFC card tonight. I'm kind of missing out on it as main event tonight.
Pardon?
Who do you have winning this main event that's going on right now? It's probably already happened, actually.
Yeah. I think it's already over.
If you're really quick on Google, you'd look like a psychic, man.
I would have had you. Yeah. I'm right in front of my computer. No. I don't know if it's not already over. See, I don't know. Has it been a while since Giga Chikadze's fought? I feel like I haven't watched him fight in a while. I can't remember who he's fought.
His last one was Barbosa. He ran through Barbosa a few months back. I expect him to run through Cater as well. He's legit. He might have already done it, but Cater's no joke. As far as Wonder
won by decision in the fifth round.
Wow.
Wait, who did?
Calvin Cater won by decision.
All right,
that shocks me. It just goes to show Cater's a dog.
Yes, he is. Yes,
he really is.
That now, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you're right. Against Holloway. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. And the fact he didn't give up there. I mean, you got to give the man props to the heart.
I don't know how he made it through that fight. Like, he got beat up so bad, like it was worrying. Yeah, it was one of those beatings. Like, that's the beating of a lifetime.
His head probably felt like
come back in the main event not long after.
Yeah. His head probably felt like it was full of cotton after that Max Holloway fight.
I couldn't imagine what he looked like the next couple days. And once it started swelling and stuff, oh my gosh.
Oh, not pretty. No.
We won't get another good UFC card until Masvidal and what's his face? Bots.
Colby.
You know what I'm talking about. Colby Covington.
Have you got the next one, Austin?
The next fight?
The next UFC cards?
Yeah, it's trash.
Who is it?
I'll tell you. The next good one is Israel Adesanya, and it's in February. That's the next good one. But the next UFC card is UFC 270. Well, it's not too bad. The main event is the heavyweight, the Francis Ngannou. You know what I'm talking about? The dude
that's definitely Ngannou and Gone.
Yeah. He's the main event. the other fights aren't any good. Then you got another fight night pass, and then UFC 271 is Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker.
Whittaker. See, that's why I don't trust your
Whittaker.
Good.
Yeah, you're mispronouncing half these names.
Yeah, Whittaker.
Shuck.
Yeah.
Well, you're a real fan here. Who do you got? Ngannou or Gone?
Flip a coin. I really have no idea. I mean, I don't know. Can Ngannou land a big punch? Can it just
Gone is more dynamic.
Yeah.
And he's so familiar with Ngannou. It's super interesting. I don't know if you've seen any of their sparring footage, but a lot of the time looks like Gone got the better of him.
Yeah, but you also have to think sparring's not a fight. I've never sparred somebody like that.
There's no way Ngannou's one with the power he does.
Well, here's the thing with Ngannou. He's not technical. He's really not. He throws wild. It'd be easy to catch him.
He's a good boxer. He's not a great boxer. I mean, I don't think he would hold up against Tyson Fury or anyone.
He leaves himself open for a lot of opportunities where he can get countered real easy. But even with him being like so untechnical, he throws so hard. You know, they always say that one shot can determine a fight. He has that power. If he just catches you with one shot and it's over. And that's what he's done to a lot of his opponents. I mean, power's just played a lot in his game, not so much being technical, you know.
So if Ngannou does win, he says he's not going to fight for the UFC again unless they make, big changes to his contract. So we might see him leave the UFC after he wins the belt.
Well, he's not a promoter. I mean, the thing is, even though if you're a champion, if you're not bringing in pay-per-view buys and if you're not promoting yourself, you're not going to get paid like some of these other guys. It's just that simple. I mean, you can't crybaby around about, I want to get paid like Conor McGregor, but you can't sell 10% of what his pay-per-views is.
I think Ngannou's a huge selling point. Like, he's the Mike Tyson of MMA right now. He's knocking everybody dead.
He might not even be the Mike Tyson, but he's a gigantic French African dude who was a former slave who puts people to sleep and then some. I don't think he's going to market himself. He does his marketing.
His story is incredible. He came from nothing.
I think really, and I hate to say this because I've got an argument with so many people about this. I think the weight class that he's in is dead. I really do. I just think it's not a good promotable weight class.
I don't agree at all. I mean,
Logan, what do you think?
You have John Jones coming up to heavyweight.
John Jones ain't going to fight again, buddy. He can't stay out of jail. He ain't going to fight again. I promise that. He ain't going to fight
a year.
Austin, you asking if I agree with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of agree.
The heavyweight is just not a powerful marketing class.
It's not
I'm not saying power is powerful. It's not a marketing class. It's not.
The guys in it are good, but it's not lightweight. It's not featherweight. It's not bantamweight. It's not welterweight. They don't have same caliber talent. It's kind of like the one dude at the top and then everybody else kind of.
I think welterweight's in trouble right now because of that. The only person standing in the way is Chimaev. If Chimaev can't get through Usman, then who's going to?
Makachev. Who are you talking about? No, you said welterweight. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, right now, when you're looking at Islam and you're looking at Dustin, then you're looking at Gaethje, and then if McGregor comes back in any weight class, that'll blow up just because of the name.
Definitely probably the deepest division the UFC has right now.
It's stacked and it's very promotionable.
135 is crazy. You've got
135 is crazy too.
Peter Yan might be my favorite fighter to watch right now in the entire year.
He's another one I forgot to mention. Yeah, his fight with Aldo was insane to watch. The way he
oh my God, he just broke, and nobody's ever done that to Aldo.
I've never seen Aldo wince in pain the way he did when Peter Yan hit him in the liver. I've never seen Aldo do that, and Peter Yan did it.
I compare your fight with Ian Brown to Peter Yan Aljamain Sterling fight, just because early in that fight, Sterling kind of put on a pace that he couldn't sustain. I think that's kind of what happened with Brown. You know, he put on a crazy pace in those first 2 rounds. His output was wild, and he was probably outstriking you on as far as output. He was throwing, and I
He
don't
was
think you can sustain.
no, I think he was landing because I just wasn't doing anything. That's what it was. I mean, I'm not putting Ian down. I love the guy, but I don't know. I mean, I think he threw just as much in the first round as he did in the second and third rounds. He was putting heat on me
You
in the
think
third.
you just weren't active enough? Then you
I
were
just
just in
wasn't
your
active.
own.
Yeah. I just wasn't throwing a whole lot. I mean, I tried to throw.
I could tell you were really trying to get the ball in there. You finally did, and you started coming out in the third, and you really landed some shots. Like that was a clean round for you. Probably the best round I've seen you fight so far in your career.
Yeah, well, I mean, my fight with Shane was
It was awfully short.
Yeah, there was only 10 seconds left in the round, I think, when I stopped him, and that one was pretty uneventful. I was trying to find my groove in that one too, and then I put him up on the fence. But yeah, I think with the infight, I mean, he like, especially in that third round, he was throwing hooks and he was throwing some kicks. I just think I was in the moment. I was countering everything he was throwing. I was laying him back. You know what I mean?
Now,
Well,
Elijah,
I
I have a question for you, Elijah, and I think it's a really good question. And the conversation hasn't got brung up with any of these interviews, and I think it's a good one because I just now thought about it. We was talking about UFC and promoting and stuff. How important is it to you for these fighters, even though they're fighting a new line, or it might be B2 or whatever it may be? How important is it for these young fighters to promote themselves at this age and at this stage? To promote yourself like you are in the UFC, you're the real deal, because you have to look at it, you got to get recognized somehow. And sometimes the diamond in the rough, you can get swept under the rug sometimes. Sometimes you get found, sometimes you don't, but it definitely helps, especially with social media popping right now, man. If you just promote yourself, I feel like fighters have a better chance at least getting recognized, and then they can prove their skill set and they might get a shot at a bigger level. I mean, do you think it's important to heavily promote yourself if you're
an important thing? Like that's why we do it. I mean, like it's a good thing for, like to talk to these younger fighters, guys that are just getting started. Like guys like Logan Shuck, they might be in the UFC one day. That like this is where it starts. But on the other hand, fighting is important right now at this level, especially. I think Logan would agree with me here. You're not going to get anywhere with skills, and you're working hard, and like you're putting in the time. I think that's where we see guys like Logan. He takes it super seriously. He's training really hard. Like some people don't. Some people don't take it seriously. Like that's what separates guys who are going to make it with guys who don't ever make it that far.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think like at this level, talking shit isn't going to get you so far because no one. I mean, who's watching this? You know what I mean? Like
yeah, like
yeah,
the old Keith No mentality. Like nobody's watching this shit.
I mean, people very well may. I mean, I definitely have friends of mine, coworkers who bought the last.
We have thousands of fans, Logan. How dare you?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, we'll have thousands of fans.
And it's not even about really as far as like talking trash or anything like that. I'm just talking about simple promoting. If it's make your own fighter page, upload daily. Even if it's you hitting the mitts or doing something. Some kind of promo video.
I think when you turn
just,
pro, I think right when you hit pro, that's when you're thinking about those things. Like if you're like one fight in and you're making a fighter page, I think maybe you're doing too much. Go win fights. Like go win fights. That's the main thing. Go train fights. And once you get on a good streak and once you're ready to turn pro, maybe that's thinking about, okay, I got to promote myself.
Yeah.
Because that's when you want to get noticed.
Yeah. And some of these guys, it's coming very soon, that they're turning pro. Or they want to turn pro regardless if they may be ready or not. But I mean, if that's a step that they're going to take, at least try to go in there with all your guns loaded. You know what I mean? No need to come out there with
Austin, you're not allowed to bring guns in the cage. I don't know if you know that or not.
I brought the cowboy boots last time. You mean I can't bring the dual actions?
Come in there with your guns loaded, so I just wanted to warn you. They might throw you out.
And if you see security carry me out the back, no, there's not an active shooter. It's just Austin trying to play cowboy. So,
By the way, Austin, how long have you been training?
well, I haven't been in the last 2 weeks because of work, and then I actually have been sick for the past 2 days. So I wasn't able to go today to open mat, which really hurt my feelings. I was going to go anyways, but Elijah told me to stay home. But when do you think, Elijah? Is whenever the gym opens when I started coming, what,
2 months,
end of November, something like that, or mid-November?
couple months, I would say. About a month's worth of good training.
Ish. All right.
We'll be
all right. What made you want to fight?
Well, I commentate these fights for one, so it's definitely good to be like, hey, go in there and experience if you're going to talk about it, But I mean, I've been an MMA fan for a long time, so I mean, I got some knowledge, enough knowledge to know how to commentate one of these things. But really, the main thing was like I got something to prove to myself. I'm always looked at as the little guy. I'm always looked at like the underdog. Seriously, I mean that's really it. Everyone thinks I'm the one to pick on. So and I know I have a dog inside of me, and I know like, hey, if I put my mind to anything, I can achieve it. I can do it. I just got to want to do it. And then I think I finally just reached a tipping point to be like, you know what? You got the skills. Let's just go sharpen up the edges. And then I think in 2 months, I've surprised myself. I'm 10 times the better, what I would call fighter than what I was 2 months ago. And I'm not saying I'm anything great, but within 2 months' time, I think I've really up my skill level a whole lot, and hard telling where I'll be in 2 more months or 6 months or whatever. But that's really what kind of got me into it. It's almost like, all right, I'm tired of hearing people talk junk, or like, I know what I can do. But if I'm going to go in there in front of a bunch of people, like anybody get in a street fight, whatever. But if I'm going to get there for a bunch of people, I'm going to make sure I look good doing it. I'm not satisfied with just getting a win. I told Elijah that. I don't want my hand just get raised. I want to go in there and like humiliate my opponent. I want to go in there and everyone be like, oh my God, yeah, it's the real deal. Or I won't be satisfied. That's not for anyone else to think. I won't be satisfied. I'm not satisfied with my hand being raised. I gotta do it to the way that I pictured it. And I know you got to put in work to do that. So that was really the whole reason. But my fight is being canceled because my opponent is out on TKO suspension.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and they couldn't find me another opponent. They found one opponent, but he was 15 pounds overweight. So
I think the plan is we're going to move his fight to March. He's going to do an MMA fight instead, maybe, or might still be boxing. I don't know. We're still deciding.
Whatever he wants to take.
I'd like to turn that same question around on you, Logan. I know you love arts, and that's a part of it, but what made you want to be a fighter?
I just love it. And like, I try to come up with some artsy, poetic answer. There really is none. I just like it. It's fun. It's fun as shit. I mean, I really do mean that some of the happiest moments of my life the past couple of years have been in these gyms, at the fights, just meeting people, just talking to people, having conversations, and then getting in there. I mean, goddamn, just the adrenaline rush and all the people watching you. And I got my coworkers and family. I know I'm on a fucking pay-per-view. You know what I mean? I'm on a pay-per-view. That's just, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's just cool.
Yeah, but
to
man,
know that.
like you said, nobody's watching this.
Yeah, no, fuck cares. Yeah, but no, it's just I mean, regardless, it's there. I'm on it. Who cares who's watching it? I'm on it. That's neat. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. We're all dead and gone. These interviews will still be on YouTube.
That's very true. Yeah, but no, just like being in the cage and standing there. I hear the announcer call my name. I hear the cage door lock behind me. You know what I mean? My coaches are hooting and hollering and yelling all the stuff they got to yell at me during the fight. It's just fun. It's fun as shit, And that, I mean, it's really what it comes down to. Just fun. There's really nothing more to it. I just love it.
Well, I can't wait to see you back in there again. You're up again. It's your third kickboxing. January 29th, Huntington, West Virginia. Tune in. Come see the fight. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you.